What is going on, YouTube? This is Justin Tries, and a new Pokemon set has finally dropped yet again. So it's time to open some packs. I do have 100 of these Silver Tempest boosters to open, just to kind of see what we will get. Um, as always, I don't recommend doing this unless you know you're going to have a lot more packs to put in. The best way to get cards in this game is to definitely trade. However, I enjoy opening packs, so let's get into it. The very first pack that I open on this file. So everything should be new except for obviously the energy. And we get a Fion. All right, well, that's not exactly the hot start that we wanted, but we will continue going on with this. I will kind of stop by on any of the cards that are interesting. Back-to-back Fions. Is it worth making this video at this point? We'll see. It does search for 3 water basics. You put them on your bench. Don't play it. Not good. Maybe in something like GLC, if you do like Gym Leader Challenge, maybe, maybe because you can get 3 basic waters. I mean, that's a pretty solid starter for GLC. Lance, we'll see if that ever gets play, if Regidrago's any good. But you search your deck for 3 dragon Pokemon, reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your deck. As you notice, it says 3 dragon Pokemon, not basic, so you can grab things like the Dragonite and whatnot and then Ultra Ball them away, put them in the grave for your Regidrago. So not bad. You have Dizzying Spinda was a lot of fun in the pre-release. This was a very good card in the pre-release, at least in my opinion. Felt pretty strong. There are the combos where you use all 3 of these Pokemon here, Dedenne, Togedemaru, and Pikachu, to kind of do everything, and you get Togedemaru in the same pack actually, which does Togedash. Togedash. I don't know how you would say that, but during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is knocked out, your opponent can't take any prize cards for it. It does 10 damage, um, and you have to use the Denne's attack in order for Pika Strike to be do 200. So it's probably just not worth it, doing. Maybe in a for fun deck, just to enjoy yourself, have an interesting game. But let's move on. There's nothing really worth talking about in there. Another Dreepy, Swirlix, Swablu. None of this stuff is any good. Emergency Jelly, we'll see. If you can tank and survive hits, it gives you free healing. So they pretty much have to be able to one-shot you or knock you down to 40 in order for their attacks to be worth it. Duraludon VMAX, alright, with the alternate art. And a Frostless. It's got 90 HP, so you can level ball for it. You play Candace from your hand during this turn. It does 90 more damage, and they're now paralyzed. So that's not terrible. 110 and paralyzed. Um, it's just not going to be good, you know. Um, I mean, maybe you can cycle the Candaces with like PAL pads and stuff, and there might be some way to try to like keep their active always paralyzed and just hope that they don't run switch, but it wouldn't be good. Duraludon, it's interesting they gave more printings of this in the set with Lugia, and I think that's probably on purpose because Lugia just can't really do anything to Duraludon unless they shut off abilities. So that is interesting. Let's see what Araquanid does. Sometimes he has interesting attacks. For 1 water, does 20. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is not paralyzed, and discard an energy from that Pokemon. So it is a control-based card. However, dealing 20 damage is just not enough to ever be useful in any situation ever. So, on to the next one. And if I miss any interesting cards, obviously comment down below so I can take a look at them because, it is interesting. Um, Radiant Hunt, probably not worth going into a stage 1 just to knock out a Radiant Pokemon. They only have 1 Radiant. It's only worth 1 prize. It's not worth it. Maybe if you're able to get the 2 different types of energy easily, you can do the 70 and draw until you have 7. Not good. It's just not good. It's just the way it is. Let's see. Shuffle 4 fossils from your discard pile into your deck. Be interesting, I suppose. Anyways, we're moving on. That pack was terrible. Let's see. We got a regenerative energy, which, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon and provides colorless energy, whenever you play a Pokemon from your hand to evolve a Pokemon V, this card is attached to heal 100 damage. So that's kind of nice. You put your V out on the first turn, evolve it, bam, you're good to go. Heal up. Serena, this is one of the new supporters. You expect to see at least one to two of in every single deck, and some decks will probably be running three. Don't really need to run four, I don't think. And you will still run on bosses just because this can only target Vs. So if you do have a matchup against, say, the Reggies or something of that nature, Serena is only a draw supporter, and as a draw supporter, Serena's okay, but not great. So you discard up to three cards from your hand. If you do, draw cards until you have five cards in your hand. Now, obviously, there are decks that can take advantage of the discard, like Zoroark V-Stars deck with Gengars. Um, that is an option. It's also great in Lugia because you can discard those Archeops in order to draw extra cards, and now they're in the discard pile for you to use your V-Star ability. The other effect, which is why this card is going to be so good, is switch one of your opponent's benched Pokemon V with their active. Now, this is only going to be good for a limited time because once the EXs come out and they actually are good enough to play, then Serena won't do anything. So, anyways, we got Cobalion, another Pokemon that I thought was just really good in the pre-release. Your basic attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active dark Pokemon. That part was useless. Follow up does 30 and choose up to two of your bench Pokemon for each of those Pokemon. Search your deck for basic energy and attach it to that Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So, in a sealed format, for two of any energy, do 30 damage and power up other attackers. Moving on here. Not a whole lot to talk about. What does the Smeargle do? Look at the top five cards of your deck. You may attach any number of basic energy cards you find there to one of your Pokemon. Shuffle after. Okay, so useless. Raichu is an option in the Zoro box deck, and that's the Zoroark that will, send itself to the graveyard or the discard pile and then bring out a stage 1 Pokemon. This Raichu is great for that. If your opponent has used the V-Star power, this game do 100 more damage. And again, it doesn't have to be that that Pokemon used the V-Star power, nothing like that. It just has to be your opponent has used a V-Star power, and for the rest of the game, this attack now does 140. Wailord will be good in Gym Leader Challenge. Takes 30 less damage. He has 200 hit points. He does 120 if he has a special energy like a Wash energy or something on him. He does 120 more, so he hits for 240. Reduces damage coming into him, and he has a lot of health. Wallace, draw three cards. Your opponent may draw a card. If they do, you draw one more. Probably not going to get a lot of play. Regidrago V-Star. Let's go. We needed that. That's going to be a fun deck to try out. I don't think it's going to be good. I think it's probably tier 2 or tier 3. But it will be fun to use. It'll give us a reason to use Gardenias. Apex Dragon for 2 grass and a fire. Choose an attack of a dragon Pokemon in your discard pile and use it as this attack. So you don't need the appropriate energies or any of that craziness. You just need the three energies for your Regidrago, and then you can use any attack from the discard pile. And then once during your turn for your ability, or during your turn, not once, but during your turn, only once because it is a star ability. But you can discard the top 7 cards of your deck, then put 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. So you may discard the top 7 cards of your deck, comma, then put up to 2 cards. Some people I've heard are saying you don't have to discard in order to get the two. Um, I'm on the other side of that because it says you may do that, then put up to 2 cards. So I could see the argument for both sides. But one way to find out is to build the deck and play it on the game and see if that's how it works. This next pack here, see what we get. We get Dragapult, which has the Dragon Launcher. Discard a number of your bench Dreepy up to the number of your opponent's Pokemon in play. Then for each Dreepy you discarded this way, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, do 100 damage to it. You can't choose the same Pokemon more than once. This damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So for each one you discarded, you can choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and do 100 damage to it. You can't choose the same. So you could send 3 Dreepies and do 300 damage, 100 across 3 Pokemon, which is pretty interesting, especially considering there is the V-Star ability um, item card in the set that puts all of your opponent's Pokemon Vs to 100 hit points. And once you do that, then you can Dragon Launcher away and win the game. Just like that. So, it would take obviously some setting up. However, you just need 3 Dreepies, 1 Dragapult, and whatever you would have had that V-Star ability on with the 3 colorless energies to use the attack to do that damage. um, you know, it is a strategy, probably not a good one, but it is interesting nonetheless. It's a deck worth building and just having for fun. What does this do? You can only use this attack if you have no supporter cards in your discard pile. This attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Interesting, but for 3 energy, it's not worth it. I would rather have supporters so I can draw cards and play the game. A second Serena, that is very good. Phoebus Ascension allows it to evolve. Probably the Phoebus I'll be using for now on. Reuniclus has persistent cells. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile. And Self Fork does 60 damage for 2 colorless. Choose 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, put 3 damage counters on each of them. So really it does 120 damage for a double colorless. So you could put a Twin Energy on this thing and just be alright. My problem with this is Reuniclus should probably be at least around 160 hit points. 120 is so low. But anyways, I feel like I'm stalling a little too much. So I'm just going to start opening at this point. Don't think there's a ton more cards that are actually interesting. When you play this Pokemon from your hand, you evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn. You may search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards attached to your Pokemon any way you like, but he only does 130 damage. He does have the 160 hit points. I was just saying I would like to have seen on that Reuniclus. But it's just not going to be good enough because the damage output just isn't there. There's better energy acceleration. I would rather just use Arceus V-Star. That's just me. Meowstic, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 supporter cards, reveal them, put them in your hand. So this is pretty neat. It's interesting. It's not good. Meditite, as long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. Interesting. We got 2 of the Morpekos. Interesting. Capturing Aroma, just a less consistent evolution incense. You either get an evolution or you get a basic off the flip. This Mismagius, if it has full HP and it's knocked out, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon, and for 1 energy, you put 2 damage counters on all of your opponent's Pokemon. So that's pretty neat. Let's see what we get here. We got Virizion, 4 as 120 plus. You have all of the Cobalion, Terrakion, and Keldeo on your bench. It does 70 more. So 90 damage for any color energy. Isn't terrible. However, Virizion is terrible because the hit points, because 90 damage just doesn't do what it used to do. Life Drain for 2 energies is awful. It doesn't do enough damage, doesn't heal enough damage. Terrible. Toxic Croak, 120 HP, 1 energy does 30. A Dark Energy and a Colorless does Diving Uppercut for 120. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 more damage from attacks. It does 120 damage for 2 energy, but he takes more damage, so he's pretty much just automatically KO'd. Terrible. Moving on here, we got a V-Guard energy. This will definitely be used a lot. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. The Pokemon this card is attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. So that can be attached to anything. It just reduces damage coming from your opponent's Pokemon V. Braviary, no energy. Put 3 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused for 80 damage. You would just do the colorless attack for damage spread if you were to use that card. Moving on. There's really not a lot going on here. Another Braviary. Move on to the next pack. And we got a Rapidash. It's cool to have. Terrakion, I don't plan on playing that attack or that deck yet again, but it is there. Its ability, we're able to play it. Um, don't expect it. Another Braviary, interesting. Delphox, 150 HP. Flare Parade to 60 times for each Serena card in your discard pile. That is definitely an interesting attack. It maxes out at a decently high level as far as damage goes, but the ability to just spam stage 2's not very high. Energy Crush is 50 times for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. That requires your opponent to play energies. They can play around that. I don't like it. Sorry. I don't know what is happening. Metagross is interesting. He has the emergency entry. If you draw him at the beginning of your turn, your bench isn't full, you can play him and draw 3 cards. Meteor Mash for a metal and a colorless does 100 damage. Next turn it does 100 more damage, so you start hitting for 200 damage. And he has 170 hit points. So I don't understand why they build some Pokemon like that Metagross where they're just insanely strong, and then you have like Reuniclus who's just kind of not great. We did get a Forest Sealstone. This is phenomenal in UV. I'm sure there's going to be some other decks that also find some use out of it. But the V-Star ability item card does get around Path to the Peak, number one. Number two, it searches any card from your deck. So you can search out whatever you need in whatever situation it may be, and that is just phenomenal. Next pack. We still have a lot to go, so I'm going to start opening these a little bit faster. I know I already said that once, but we started getting a few other interesting cards. Gardevoir, I always get cards that are interesting as soon as I say that. Gardevoir Refinement. You may discard a card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw 2 cards. I don't see this card being any good. 120 damage for 2 energies. 120 damage just isn't enough. The other Gardevoir from Astral Radiance is just better. The one where you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, any energies you see there, you may attach. Um, well, any basic energies, and anything else, you just add it to your hand. So you literally just draw 2 cards without a discard, and with that, you also get to attach energy, so you have energy acceleration. And the damage on the other one is not capped. It is 3 colorless energies. I'm trying to go off of memory. Um, can't remember the exact numbers, but I know for 3 psychic energies, it hits for 150. So, it hits well, and you can build it up to have more than 3 energies, and it continues to stack the energies to deal more damage. I believe it's like 30 more per energy, so it stacks up pretty quickly for non-V Pokemon, I should say. Ariados, another interesting one. Your opponent's Pokemon V-Stars attacks cost 1 star more, so Arceus may need to get that 4th energy, which can definitely hurt. Um, So it's an interesting card to throw on the bench. You could put, I don't remember. I think this does the cloak have to be attached? I actually happen to have a leafy camo poncho right here. Whenever your opponent plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to the Pokemon V-Star or VMAX this card's attached to. So, poncho does not help in this case. You would need another item. There is one available that would do. Worker discards a stadium, draw 3. Have unknown V-Star. It's not going to be good, but it makes everything in play have a weakness to Psychic for 3 colorless energies. The problem is you got to put him in the active spot. He uses the attack and then he gets knocked out because he only has 250 hit points. Amoonguss, the Surprise Spores. If this Pokemon is discarded from your hand by an effect of an ability or an attack from your opponent's Pokemon. Oh man. Oh, I am really struggling this morning. Um, but if he gets discarded, you by an effect of your opponent's item or supporter cards, attack, ability, discard your opponent's hand. He also does 50 damage for 2 energies, and they're now asleep. Interesting ability. It's going to require some different things before it's any good. In DD, if you go first, you use this attack during your first turn. Search your deck for a card, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So you can search for anything that you want. Alright, Superior V-Star. For a grass and 3 colorless energies, you do 190 damage. Move any amount of your energy from your Pokemon to your other Pokemon any way you like. Remember, it says your Pokemon to your other Pokemon. It does not say from this Pokemon to your other Pokemon. So you can move your energies any way you want. For the V-Star power for 1 grass, it does 60 times for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So the reason he does that is you're probably using Regal Blender to stack a bunch of energy onto him. You're probably going to use like Big Charm or something in order to make him tanky, have the V-Guard as well on him, and then you can tank their hit after moving all that energy to him, knock something out, and then he pulls himself off the front line onto the bench. You could also use something like Poncho that we were just talking about, the Leafy Camo Poncho. So whenever he goes to the bench after the attack, after he's taken other damage, he's free to not be pulled up by boss or anything like that. He can just sit there on the bench, come back up, and do Starwinder again. Kirlia, this is actually better than the Gardevoir in my opinion because you can level ball this Pokemon. It has the exact same ability. You're never going to attack with it, but you will use it in Gym Leader Challenge if you're going to play a Gardevoir. Our first Ponyta, that was big. We already had a Rapidash. This card is interesting if your opponent's active Pokemon has 100 HP or less. You just knock out their Pokemon. If you can get these fossils out, this could be decent. Again, comboed with that item card that gives you the V-Star ability with the 3 colorless energies to make all of your opponent's Pokemon Vs have 100 hit points remaining. So there's a lot of combos for that, which is awesome. Valian. Alright. I think we're going to start getting to that part where we can just kind of fly through stuff. We got Magearna. Let's see what Primordial Altar does. Once during either or each player's turn, that player may look at the top card of their deck. They may discard that card. Gear Throw does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Special Laser for 2 metals and a colorless is 100 plus 120 if you have a special energy. 220. Meh, not great. Let's see. That's just not good. Pokemon Evolve this turn, it does nothing, but he does do 110 for 1 energy. So Gym Leader Challenge, this is actually pretty insane. With like a muscle band or something on there. That's actually just not bad. Being on here. Their aura. Not really anything worth talking about. Another Serena, that is huge. We need all the Serenas we can get. Serena will be played a lot, so definitely want that. In real life, I seem to have gotten extremely unlucky, or Serena's just extremely short printed. Another Serena, so I've got my play set of Serenas. But I got 5 Serenas out of 3 boxes, which is not good. Teeny. Let's see. Jinx is an interesting card to me. Selfish Lips. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage for an opponent's attack that is a Pokemon V, your opponent doesn't take any prize cards. And then for 2 colorless energies, it has 10 plus 10 more for each damage counter on their active. Regilucky V. It's meh. The VMAX is definitely okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, Lightning Wall is interesting. Does 100 damage, you take 100 less. It's just not good. Gonna move on. Let's see what we got here. A Talonflame. It does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Opponent's active already has any damage counters on it. It does another 80, so he does 160 for 1 energy if they have damage counters. And that, my friend, is not bad. However, this deck will not be good because it is a stage 2. Just won't get there in time. Terrakion, another Talonflame. Smeargle, another Jinx. Come on, Pools. You can do better than this. I know you can do better than this. Another Metagross. Alright, we're starting to kind of hit a downfall here on the packs. And we fixed it with a Lugia V-Star. Let's go. This is the best card from the set. Possibly the best Pokemon in the game now that we are at this point. Lugia V-Star, 280 hit points, so he's got the big hit points. Tempest Dive, 4 colorless energies, does 220. Discard a stadium and play. You may is a big part of it because you can play Path to the Peak, and it says you may, so you do not have to discard it to attack. You might be saying 220 is not a lot. However, you can use powerful energies, and those definitely add to the damage. You can also use V-Guard to make your hit points higher. You can play this similar to how people have played Arceus in the past, where you are basically using like Charon's Care to pick it up, and you already have another Lugia on the bench, and then you just evolve it, stuff like that. It's so good. And you partner with Archeops. Archeops is what pulls energies from the deck, and whenever you use Lugia V-Star's ability, Summoning Star, during your turn you may put 2 colorless Pokemon from your that don't have a rule box from your discard pile onto your bench, which is how you get the Archeops there. So you only have to play 4 Archeops. Some people I see play 3. I like 4 for the consistency aspect of it. So you can discard them with Quick Balls, Ultra Balls, stuff like that early in the game. So on turn 2, you can Lugia V-Star. Now, different ways to cycle those energies back into your deck. Say you do go the Charon's Care route, you want to be able to, shuffle your hand back in, stuff like that. So it's going to be important to keep count of all of your energies, in my opinion, because if you do that move, you can't play a second supporter that turn. So you're going to need to be able to, pull energies out of the deck. However, the next turn, you can play a card like Marnie, put those energies back on the bottom of the deck, draw a fresh 5 cards that will be hopefully more useful, and then use the Archeops abilities to move those energies onto a Lugia that's out on the board. So Lugia V-Star, very, very strong, hoping to pull more of these in this opening. And time is starting to get tight for me, so I am really going to start to fly through these as quickly as possible. The melodic looks cool, but it's not good. We got a double melodic pack. How interesting is that? You pull the character art and the regular art. Interesting. And we got an Incineroar. That is our first Incineroar. Choose an attack from one of this Pokemon's previous evolutions. Use it as this attack. You also have Flare Shot for 180. Discard all energy. 180 for 2 energies. That is correct. This is good in GLC. I don't care what anybody tells you. And so the attack you might use would be Gritty Claws. Does 40 damage during opponent's next turn. If this Pokemon has full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an attack, it is not knocked out. So that is a move you can play. Regidrago V, that is our first Regidrago V. We have a V and a V star, so that is good. We don't have any regular Lugias. We got a Dredagon, interesting. It does have Revenge, so he does 160 on the Revenge. That is pretty strong. Continue on with the opening here, and we get a Duraludon Magearna pack. All right. I don't mind getting the Duraludons. I don't really have those, so not bad for me to get. Regieleki V full art. That is awesome. Now we have multiple Lecky Vs. We would like to get some V Maxes though to boost that damage. And there is the Archeops I was talking about earlier for the Lugia. Use Primal Turbo. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 special energy cards. Attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. He also does 120, which isn't the worst. He has 150 hit points, which also isn't bad. Another Serena. Incineroar can also use Reprisal, I think is how you say that. It does 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Since he had a decent number of hit points, you can actually do quite a bit. If you have 100 damage counters on you, you've taken 100 damage, you can do 200 for 2 energy. So, not too shabby. And a Gym Leader Challenge where it's hard to do one-hit knockouts on 170 hit point Pokemon. Worth it. And we got the Lugia, the alternate art. This card is worth $300 in real life right now, which is insane to me. However, this card is just, I mean, this card's not great. You want to use it to get into the next Lugia. But it was big for me to pull here, so I don't have to go trading for it. I may, based on the pulls, trade it for regular Lugias, if I'm being honest, just so I don't have to trade a bunch of packs, get those Lugias. So we got a Lugia V and a Lugia V Star. We're really looking for more of those. The Vulpix V Star, Alolan Vulpix V Star. Snow Mirage does 160 for water and 2 colorless. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from Pokemon that have an ability. And then Silvery Snowstar for no energy does 70 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon V in play. So there are games where that is actually a useless attack. It will do nothing. Because you can play against Reggies and they just don't play any Vs. Wyvern. Alright. We got the character art Jinx, which is pretty sweet. We did get a Regieleki VMAX. He has Transistor. Your basic electric Pokemon attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. He does do 220, but during the next turn he can't attack. He is not good. His boost only goes to basic electric energy or electric Pokemon. That doesn't work for himself either. So that kind of stinks if we're being honest. But there are, electric Pokemon where it can make sense. We got the character art Flaffy. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, there we go. I was like, open. We get another melodic. I think we have probably about 30 of those. So, yeah, we got a lot. We got a Dragonite. Another Jinx. Another Kabalion. Don't need Drowsy. We're a little over halfway here. Or right at about halfway, I guess. The Braviary. So we're really starting to hit stretches now where we got a lot of cards we already kind of know. We've already looked at. Arcanine does 100. If the opponent's active as a Pokemon Fee, it does 100 more. So 200 for 3 energies. Not terrible, I guess. But nothing too crazy. We've got plenty of the Raichu. Another Regidrago, which is good. Because you do need at least 3, I feel like, for that deck. If you're going to try to play it, I'm going to test it out again. I just don't think it's very good. This attacks 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon if they're knocked out. Take 2 more prizes. Wow. Man, I'm yawning and I can't stop. Crobat. That's an interesting ability because if your 30 damage knocks out, say, a Mew VMAX, you can take 5 prize cards in one knockout. That would be insane. So, you can take 3 from a single prize. I mean, if someone's playing Melodic and you get the Feebas out there, you get 3 prize cards. Not too shabby. I do think it's pretty good in Gym Leader Challenge. Doesn't matter if it's worth playing over the other one that draws cards. It's kind of the big downfall to playing that one over the other one. Um, this one's interesting. Chestnut V takes less, 30 less damage. Or no, if he's damaged by attacks, you put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So they can start to deal a lot of damage to themselves. You can make him more tanky with things like, oh, what is it? Not Giant Cape, but it's I can't remember the name of it. But basically, it gives it 50 more HP, so it becomes a 280 hit point Pokemon that can now do 130 damage. It heals 30 damage. It also deals 30 damage if they attack into him. So, I don't think it'll be good, but it could be a fun deck to play on the ladder and just have a good time. We did get our second Archeops, so that is massive. We need 2 more Archeops, and then we also need probably 2 more of each Lugia, I would say. I would be shocked if we got that. I would be shocked, honestly, if we got any more Lugia. Um, a Blissey alternate art, that thing is sick. I like that. I want to get those probably in real life. Woo! Zygarde, wow. Alright, we're just going to keep flying through these now that we're at this point. Not really a whole lot of new stuff except for the reverse hollows being the new version of the same cards. I don't think we read Dragonite. The Dragonite, first attack, terrible. Second attack for water, a lightning, and double colorless energy hurricane 180. Search your deck for 3 basic energy cards. Attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. So basically, the point of this is it does Arceus V-Star's attack, but it's slightly more difficult. However, Regidrago can do that itself, deal 180, and put energies onto the other Regidrago. So not terrible. We got Altaria, which looked cool. That's about all it is, though, is it looks cool. So many Virizions. I don't understand why there's so many Virizions, but they just keep coming. Same as the Melodics. There's so many Melodics. It is unreal. Melodic and Virizion. I never want to see those again. Or Braviary. Those 3 have shown up. Oh man, these pools are getting so bad. I'm yawning. Another Jinx, alternate art, character art, whatever you want to call it. I do appreciate that. More Serenas. Another Regieleki VMAX. We got 2 Vs, 2 VMAXs. Not too shabby. Poncho. We got the Superior. Continue to just power through these packs. Let's see what we can get. Another Altaria, a Vulpix V, the Serena. We got the beautiful Gardevoir, full art, character art, whatever you want to call these cards with refinement. Again, I still recommend the other card, and I kind of just like the other character art better anyways. And once we finish these packs, I will very quickly go through the 5 pre-release kit boxes as well to see what promos we get. Maybe we can get Archeops there as well if we don't get the 2 more Archeops here on the opening. We do have 21 more packs left, so hoping to see Archeops and Lugias as much as possible. As of right now, our luck has kind of gone down the tubes a little bit. We're not pulling very many Vs. That's not a good one. Not a good one. I've pulled 5 of those in real life out of the 3 boxes that I opened. Kind of tired of seeing Ursula. Omastar V, another interesting card. Primal Guidance. Search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon that evolve from an item card that has Fossil in its name. Put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. This card is honestly, we'll see. It sounds like it could be good. Could also just be terrible. You still got to evolve into them, so it's still like getting a stage 1, and all of that is set up by basically just a call for family that only works for fossil Pokemon, which just doesn't sound that great. Another Gardevoir refinement character art, which is cool, but again, I don't foresee myself actually playing that card at any point. Arena full art would also be a cool pull to get, but really that Lugia and Archeops back-to-back Fiones again. Awesome. All right, 16 packs left. Please treat us good, PTCGO. I would really appreciate it. We got a Breaksin, interesting one. I have a character art. I didn't know that existed, but it is pretty cool. And it is freezing in my room right now. I forgot I did not put socks on for some reason, and my feet are frozen, man. Holy, I'm freezing. But let's see. We got another melodic. Holy cow! We have so many melodics. If anybody needs melodic, you just let me know. We got a Jinx, another Moongus. Geez, we've really hit a dry spell here. We need a strong finish. We need some Lugias to pop up. We need some Archeops. We don't need Klinklang. Okay? We got 11 packs to go. Let's see what we can do. We got a Kabalion, another Kabalion. We don't need any more of those. Thank you, though. I appreciate it, but not really. I don't want them. We got another Virizion. Again, we don't need this card. We have like a million of it. We just continue to pull it over and over again. We got another Gardevoir. Don't need that. We've already got enough. We got another Chestnut, which is interesting. Magius. We did get a Radiant Serena, which is actually kind of huge because Radiant Serena is quite solid. Got a Superior. We got another Gardevoir. A real life box has better pull rates than the video game. This is kind of insane if I'm being honest. Getting near the end. Then I can go eat, and I'm gonna head down to the actual card shop here in Franklin, Tennessee. It's called Tier 1 Gaming. I have started running the league there. I have done everything for Pokemon, just waiting on my email to be an official tournament organizer. I am pretty excited about that. Um, I will be hosting leagues on Thursdays and Saturdays there. It is quite fun for me because I get to play as well as help people out. I'll have several decks built all the time, and because of that, people can show up. They don't even have cards. They can use, one of my decks, and we can just have a good time. Um, see a Noivern, don't care. We are extremely low on packs. We need a very, very, very strong finish here because it has been just awful. This is the last pack. The last pack. Can we get something big to close it out? We got another Veriz. Are you kidding me? Holy smokes. Let's open these 5. We did get 2 Archeops Primal Turbos if needed. The Hollow is the Curlia, which I do love myself, being a Gardevoir fan. This one does have the Hollow Archeops, so that is awesome. We would like one more Hollow Archeops, and we did get it. We got 2 Hollow Archeops. Can't complain. We got everything we could have wanted out of these. We got another Rapidash. We got Magma Basin. All good things. Another Curlia, just in case. I don't see us using that one. Actually, now that I think about it, you have the Curlia that searches all Curlias out of your deck. Now, if you use like a 2-2 line of Curlia, you could, in theory, level ball the other Curlia to put out there in the active. Use the attack and get 3 Curlias, so you can get 2 more of the draw, 2 refinements, and 1 of the regular. and then you can use those refinements to dig and find your Gardevoirs to stack up on the bench, and then you can use like a Rangaroo and stuff to stack your deck with the energies, so that you are accelerating energy at the same time. And you could play like, I was playing Gardevoir Mewtwo V Star at one point. That was actually going decently well. So, anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys watching today. This was a lot of fun opening 100 packs. I don't recommend doing it. If you have a limited number of packs that you get to open, do not open the packs. Unless you just really love the ups and downs of opening packs. Hold on to the packs. Use them as trade bait. You'll see here, I hold on to my packs a lot. 81 Astral Radiance, 50 Brilliant Stars. These are trade bait, right? If people want to trade, I got Celebrations. I've got Pokemon Go. I've got Shining Fates if you're trying to pull for the Charizard. People post up good cards all the time and for, with trades for packs. So I just search for those cards. I offer the packs. I get the cards that I want instead of hoping that in 100 packs I open what I want. So hopefully you guys don't do what I just did. Open 100 packs. Pull eh, eh, at best. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.